pray, they'll fast with me, during Ramadan, and we read the Quran.
No, this is it.
Shireen doesn't wear her religion any more lightly at work. She has a full-time job at Bradford College and openly prays in her office.
Do they see you here as very religious?
Yes, I think they think I am religious. I pray, I read namaz, I read Quran, I fast, I give charity. Yeah, they see me pray. I've got my prayer mat, I've got my scarf, I pray here.
It would be easy to assume that living in secular Britain could be a real problem for Shireen. Not so.
And do you feel easy in Britain? I mean, do you feel easy in Bradford?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I feel easy in Bradford. I've come here, I've lived here, I work, and I've integrated in the society. My friends have always been multicultural. I don't think if I want to be more religious, I would put my friends away. Even though my best friend is an English woman, I wouldn't put her away. She's my best friend, she's my best friend. She comes to my house, we go out together. So I think I have a place for these people and a place for my religion.
And it turns out that the vast majority in our survey shared Shireen's attitude.
Being in this country, we feel very British, but we also have to adapt to our religion because it's a way of faith, and religion is so important. It also gives you the identity of what you are as well.
However, despite many feeling both British and Muslim, the survey revealed other views that were far less reassuring, particularly among those born and brought up here. The general assumption that as they grow up, second and third generations integrate more than their parents and elders did has to be re-examined. Our survey shows that many young Muslims are now identifying less with Britain and more with their religion than their parents and elders did. Ghulam from Leighton is 19 and studies biomedicine at London University. He's been elected an official of the National Union of Students. Like many young Muslims in the survey, Ghulam openly talks of his sense of separation from his country.
But it just makes you more angry with this country, and more discontent, and more disenfranchised, and you don't want to be with them, because they're just against you. It's like us and them.
I went to meet Ghulam at his local cafe with another friend of his, Jamal. He too is a student of politics at Westminster University. They don't feel British at all, but the question is, how extreme are their views?
Do you even regard yourself as British?
In terms of the maybe geographical sense, yes, yeah. But in terms of where I'd get any of my values or ideas from, or motivation to do any actions, I wouldn't take it from any non-Islamic source, i.e. Britain or any British values. So.
What upsets you about Britain?
I could never associate myself with another country which currently engages in oppression against not only Muslims but anyone who doesn't fit its interests.
This is what is radicalising Muslims. He gave an example of himself, how he changed. My situation was pretty much exactly the same, yeah? The Iraq war, yeah? This is what made me think, okay, why are they being attacked here? What have they actually done?
Many assume that potential radicals only come from the deprived areas of Britain. But the well-off and the well-educated are drawing away just as much. Ghulam explained that it was the very fact of his education that's led him to think the way he does.
When our generation, our parents and ancestors came, they came for the sole reason of making money. They weren't thinking about anything else. Now the kids, they can start thinking about all the other extra stuff, about educating yourself, about becoming a productive individual, an intelligent individual. And then, once we're intelligent, all that, then we start taking a realisation of what's happening in the world. And that's what our realisation, that's why I become practicing.
I would say I have a system, yeah, or I understand a system, Islam, which actually could be equally as good, if not better, yeah, in terms of looking after the affairs of its citizens, yeah. So, on a state level or on an individual level, yeah, I believe that Islam is superior.
Ghulam and Jamal want to convince the whole nation, including me, to become Muslim.
You would like me to be a Muslim? Ideally. You would?
Ideally, I believe...
You would like me to be a Muslim?
Of course, because ideally I view Islam has the solutions to all of man's problems, and for that solution to cater for the people and treat them right.
Strange, really. I mean, language, words are so important. I wouldn't call them extremists, I'd call them separatists. They're absolutely convinced that Islam really has much better solutions than anything we've ever come up with. But extremists? No, separatists. But this sense of separatism could become a threat if it leads to sympathy for suicide bombings. In our representative survey, almost 1 in 4 said that the 7/7 bombings were justified in light of British support for the war on terror. And Muslims under the age of 24 were twice as likely to show this sympathy than those over 45. We also found that 8 out of the 1,000 polled consistently chose the most radical and extreme answer to every question.
That is my identity.
Abu Muwahid is a 23-year-old graphic designer from East London. He wasn't one of these, but when I met him in a park near his house, he did not condemn terrorist attacks.
You can tell me now what you think about 7/7.
The reason why they carried out those attacks was because of the foreign policy of Britain in Iraq. So what was the cause? The foreign policy. How to solve it? Remove the foreign policy, remove the British troops from Iraq. It's very simple.
Well, that
1 + 1 is 2.
won't bring more than 50 people back from the dead, will it?
Neither will condemning it. Neither will making new laws. It doesn't make sense. If we want to stop the cycle of blood, what's happened has happened. If we want to stop it, we must look to the cause. Because violence is not just absolutely forbidden in Islam. It depends who the violence is directed to. Violence against a criminal in Islam is considered a praised duty, but violence against innocent
But those
people is
Muslims
forbidden.
in the World Trade Center, if you just want to isolate them, they were not criminals.
Well, again, we need to refer to the text. We need to see what they were doing in the World Trade Center, and if even our job, our occupation in Islam must be based upon a text.
You mean if they had offended against Islam, it would be quite justifiable to throw a plane into
You see,
their
if a
building?
Muslim commits adultery, then he would be stoned to death. A Muslim. I'm talking about a Muslim here. So
any adulterers in the World Trade Center, in your book, it's quite justified to kill them?
No, they should not be killed in that way. There should be in Islam, any person who commits adultery will be stoned to death.
Can you imagine yourself ever being driven to such